friends, thanks for joining me today. Today we are going to be learning how to do the chain stitch. In the first video I shared with you how to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. In the second video I showed you how to do the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And today we're going to do the chain stitch. So if you missed the first couple of videos, I'll share with you what you need to get to this point here. You're going to need 10 pieces of paper. Now, you can, if this is your first time, then I would suggest you go ahead and use some thinner gauge paper. I am actually going to be using some heavy mixed media paper because I'm creating some mixed media notebooks. But for you, if this is your first time or you're just getting familiar with journal making, then go ahead and use something thinner. All right, so all I'm doing right now is, because my paper is thick, I can't get a good crease if I stack them and fold them together all at the same time. So I'm doing them one at a time. Yours you might be able to do all at the same time. But if you can't, that's okay. Just do it like this. And you just want to get a nice, good crease. Now if you're new and this is a little bit of a practice for you, you don't necessarily have to use mixed media paper or even scrapbook paper. You could literally, if this is a practice run, use magazine pages. Use whatever you want if you're practicing, because, you know, then you won't be worried or apprehensive if something goes awry. All right, so I've got my, I'm using a little bit less than the 10 pieces because these are super thick. So I'm using, I don't know how many's in here. All right, so this is 9 actually, so it's more than I thought. And then I've got this piece, which is going to be my cover. It's the same exact paper, and it will be my cover, but I'll decorate it when I'm done. So I am going to go ahead, and just like I did before, I'm going to mark, grab my pencil, I'm going to mark a line right down here. I'm hoping that came through. My pencil's not very sharp. Let me try that again, see if it worked. Okay, I think it worked good enough, because what we're gonna do, I'm doing this now as opposed to later once I've binded it. I'm grabbing my metal ruler, which has cork on the back, and the cork is so it doesn't slide easily, so it'll stay nice and stable. And I'm putting it up to my pencil mark, and then I'm grabbing my, so I just got my box cutters in today actually, but just so that you know what I had been using, and you can use this if this is what you have on hand. I had, oops, oh geez, the razor came out. I must not have tightened it good enough because I had just replaced it. So I had been using this, but I felt like as I get more and more into this process and start working with more and more papers, it might be easier for me to use this. The other one is a great tool, but for getting through lots and lots of paper, I felt like this might be better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to butt it up right next to the ruler. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do was put my mat down. So I need to do that. Always grab your mat to protect your table. And let me make sure I'm still lined up where I want to be. Okay. The mat will protect your table really nicely. I'm hoping I didn't do too much damage when I took that first cut. Okay, I think, oops, almost got it. We got a little piece right here. I didn't snug right up against the ruler at first, and so I missed a little spot. Almost there. One more time and we should be good to go. Okay. Now, what I love, now I do love some jagged edges sometimes. Like when I'm doing a junk journal, I love some jagged edges. I have no problem with them. However, since I'm making a notebook today, and honestly, if you're doing this, you could turn yours into whatever you want. So just because I'm making a notebook doesn't mean you need to be making a notebook. That's just what I'm going to do today for the simplicity of the video and being able to really just focus on the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. No, we did that last week for the chain stitch. Sorry about that, guys. I was focusing on trying to get this cut just right because I really want the edge to be super like specific, you know, like perfect if I can. I don't know if it's going to be perfect because there we go. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost to perfection. Okay, almost got it. There we go. Okay, we should be good now. Okay, so now, and I know it's hard for you to see, I'll hold it like this, but this is a beautiful edge, right? It's just, it looks so nice and so clean, and I love it. All right, so that's what we wanted to use our metal ruler and our box cutter for. All right, so let me get my little scraps out of the way, get them off the desk. Now this is the top, and like I said, it's the same exact paper, and I will choose how I want to decorate that later. Week 1, we used contact paper over our notebook. Week 2, I used wallpaper over the notebook. And this week, I'm not sure. And that's okay. All right, so we've got this. Now we want to open it to the center. And we're gonna grab our ruler. And we're gonna push our ruler right up to the center. And we're gonna line up the 0 mark. Let me push this up here. We're gonna line up the 0 mark right here, okay? So that's step 1. Now we're going to mark 11 dots. Each dot should be spaced 3/4 inches apart from each other. Now if you're working from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I can give you the exact measurements. Mine are going to be different, so I'm going to read these out to you real quick. You're going to do your first one at 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inch, 2 inches, 2 3/4 inch, 3 1/2, 4 1/4, 5 inches, 5 3/4, 6 1/2, 7 1/4, and 8. Now you can see mine is just over 8, so I'm going to have to adjust accordingly. But I wanted to read those out to you just in case you are using an 8.5 by 11. This is mixed media paper, so I couldn't get it exactly to that perfect size. That being said, that's okay. I'm going to snuggle mine up while you guys go ahead and mark yours. I'm going to go ahead and see what kind of adjustment I can get going here. So what I'm thinking what I can do is start at 1/4. So you're starting your line at the 0 mark down here, and I'm going to start mine at 1/4 inch, and I think I'll be okay if I do that. We're going to give it a go. I can always erase it. You know, I'm working with a pencil. I can always erase it if something doesn't look right. So now I'm going to follow the same measurements. I've just moved the ruler to make it work, and hopefully it will. All right, so 1/2 inch, and then 1 1/4, 2 inches, 2 3/4, 3 1/2, 4 1/4, 5, 5 3/4, 6 1/2, 7 1/4. Oops, I didn't do 6 1/2. 6 1/2's right here. I'll do this one bigger so I know it's the right one. 7 1/4. That seems like a leap. Hold on, let me make sure I got this right. All right, all those look good. So we had, what did we do here? We did 5, and then 5 3/4. We got that right. Then after 5 3/4, we're doing 6 1/2, which is right here, okay. And then we're doing 7 1/4, and that's gonna be right here. And then we're gonna do it at the 8 inches. So I think we're pretty good. Let's take a look. that looks pretty even to me. We have our boo-boo here. I'll just make sure that I poke the hole at the bigger one. But everything else looks pretty darn good. So that should be 11. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. So we got that part done. Just as I mentioned in the first two videos, you're gonna need your awl. You're going to need some thread. And I'm thinking on this one, I feel like I wanna go with this color thread. And of course we know I'm going to need a needle. Okay, so we have all of our essentials here now. Now is the time that if you want to use a clip, go ahead and grab one and put it on there just to help keep your paper from shifting. And actually, this is funny, in video number 2, I shared with you the dynamics of sometimes why clips can be frustrating. So I'm gonna open this like this so you can see what I'm doing, keeping all these center pieces together, and now I'm gonna clip it. Because it's sort of fanned open when I had it, when I went like this, I went like this, and then I went like this, it fanned it open. It just shifts it, and so it's kind of a strange thing. But anyway, I think everything is centered now. I think everything is good. Let's double check. Hold on. I don't like how that piece is acting weird. Let's do it. There we go. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead for a few minutes. I'm just going to put one on the bottom. I won't need it there forever, but just to hold things, because things are set pretty nicely. All right, because we have so many holes that we need to get through, 11 of them, we are going to measure this thread 3.5 times. So if you remember video 1 and video 2, we only had to do it 2 times, but we're going to do it 3.5 times. We need more thread on this. Now we are going to tie an overhand knot, and we're going to wrap this twice around it to create extra bulk. Now we're going to thread the needle from the other end. All right, so that you can understand the process that I'm going to go through as I'm talking about where we're putting the needle through. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to call this hole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And before we get started sewing, we're going to go ahead and we are going to push through the pages with our awl. Now I can still see the lines where I put the dots with my purple marker. So I'm going to go in with, let's see, we're going to be using the green thread right here. So I'm going to choose one of my green markers, and I'm just going to go right down the center. There, and it'll just look kind of cool when it's all done. All right, now we can grab our threaded needle. And so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to turn this like this, and we're going to work from the bottom up. So we're going to start from the inside of the journal, and we're going to go put the needle through hole number 1. And we're going to pull the thread all the way through till the knot, which is right here. And hopefully it's big enough. You know, I probably, even though I folded that twice, I'm going to go ahead and do that again just to make the knot a little bit bigger. I don't want it to come through. I have a pretty heavy gauge needle, so my needle, it's not tiny, that's for sure. Okay, I think we're good now. Let's give it a test. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, very nice. Now we're going to go from the outside to the inside. Oops, in hole number 2. And I've got to thread this thing back on there. Okay, and here we go. So far, so good, right, my friends? Now we're going to go back through hole number 1 to the outside. So I'm going to scooch my little thread over there, and we're going right back through. So we basically, you know, just did a circle there. All right, and there it is. I'm gonna pull it a little bit tight because it'll be difficult to pull because there's gonna be so many. It'll be difficult to pull it tight later, so I'm gonna do that now. Not tight enough to tear any paper, just tight enough so that it's not loose. Now I'm gonna go back into number 2. And I'm gonna go out of number 3. I'm gonna check this, make sure it looks good, and it does. Now this is a great stitch to do if you have heavy journals or heavy books that you're making with lots of papers. This is a real good stitch. Now I want to show you that on the inside, we've got 2 stitches in, and on the outside, we have a double right here between stations 1 and 2. And this functions as the first chain stitch. And now, we're going to take our needle. We're going to go underneath these, both of them. And we're going to pull that tight. And now we're going to go back through hole number 3. And there we are. Hopefully you can see that. I'll try to zoom in on that for you so you can see what that looks like. Now we're going to go into hole number 4. And now I'm going to go under this just like I did the first time. And now we're going to go back into hole number 4. If I can get my needle through. Let me turn it over. There we go. I think I can move these now. Actually, I'll leave this one on. I'll take the bottom one off. Now we're going to go through hole number 5. Popping this under just like we did the other ones. Pull it tight. Pull it tight along the way because you won't be able to pull it tight later. Our other stitches we can pull tight at the end, but not this one. Okay, and then we're going to do the same. So we're going to go through hole number 6, pulling that through, going underneath our 2 threads on the outside, making sure it's tight, going back into number 6, pull that through. Once you get the hang of it, it really starts to go fast. Going out number 7. Gonna go under here. Gonna pull that tight. Everything's looking really good. It's really a very pretty stitch, you guys. Very, very pretty. Going back in. I'm going to go out number 8. And I'm having a hard time for some reason, so let's see what's going on. There we go. Going to go out number 8. And under these, oops, pull that tight, back into number 8. Oh, but let me rethread. There we go. Okay. Out number, is that 9? Yep, number 9. feel like going under this way. Let's try it. It might mess up the groove or the look of it. It does, it does. I have sort of a like a pattern going, so let's keep it the same. If you want to do it like every other, at least there would be a pattern, but this whole time I've been going in the same direction. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that. Now we're going to go back into this one. Can remove this now. Definitely don't need that. Out number 10. This is number 10. And go underneath our wax again. Pull that tight. Go back into number 10. And now we're going to go out number 11. And we are going under, pulling it tight, and then going to go back to the inside of hole number 11. Now we're going to tie what is called a 1/2 inch knot, and you need to make sure when you do this that your thread is on the inside of your signature, and ours clearly is. The next thing we're going to do is thread the needle underneath of a stitch. And we have a loop, as you can see. Now we're going to take our needle and we're going to thread it through the loop. Now we're going to pull in the opposite direction of the stitches to tighten it. And for extra support, we can tie another knot over top of the first one. So we're going to do it the same way. We threaded under our stitch. We have our loop. We're going to go through our loop. We're going to pull up on it for just that little bit of extra support. Now we're going to cut the excess thread away. And I'm going to do the same down here so I don't have quite as much. Now if I hadn't have trimmed my edge already, I could do it now. So if you've stitched yours together and now that you see that your edge, some of your pages are sticking out, now would be the time to go ahead and address that. If you wanted to, this is also a time so that you didn't get dog ears. You could grab a corner punch and you could go ahead and do that if you would like to. And then of course you can take and decorate the cover. So I was thinking about the cover and I thought, let's do something a little bit different. And a friend sent me these pieces of fabric ribbon, and I thought we'd go ahead and make a cover out of this. So what we're going to do, and I'm hoping we have enough, but we're just going to wing it and see. So what I thought we would do is we could start here by the edge and simply glue this down, and then I would come over here. I wouldn't cut it until I bring it around this way and glue that down and then cut it. And I'm hoping I'll get 2 go-arounds so I could do the same thing on the back. And if I do that with each piece, I think we can get decent coverage for the cover. And now let's play with this for a second and see if 3 go-arounds gets us to the other side. Let's take a look. I mean, like from one side to the other side. And it does, and there's even a little bit of space for overlapping, so that's super nice. If it hadn't, and if something changes while we're working on it, we can always add some lace to the edge. But I think this is fun. I think this is what we'll do. Now, I have turned on my heat, well, my glue gun, and I am also going to get out my 3-in-1, which I am pretty sure is the same as Fabri-Tac. And now the other option, actually, what might be a little quicker, the other option would be to put it down with some Mod Podge. Gosh, that would be way, way quicker. Let's do that. All right, so I'm going to start like this. And I'm going to get it up to the edge as close as I can. I'm probably right about there. I could cover the spine if I wanted to, but I would like to leave it exposed just because it's such a pretty stitch. So I think I'm going to leave it, you know, exposed. All right, but this looks like what we're doing here. So I'm going to open the top to my Mod Podge. This one will work just fine. I'm going to do the inside all at once. I'm going to let the outside dry a little bit as I add the other ones, and then we'll do the inside so I'm not flipping back and forth. So now I'm going to grab the yellow one. I am going to overlap a little bit. Sorry, I got this one down. I thought I had hit record and apparently I had not. But anyways, you can see me get the second and third one down. And I'm going in the same order as I did on the front simply because there is a slight overlap and I didn't want anything to get bunched up in the wrong way. I'm glad we decided to go with Mod Podge. I think this is making the process much easier, much faster. As you can see, I've turned it so that I can go ahead and trim off the ends. I'm not getting super close, and I am hoping that we have enough to do the back, but if not, we'll find something else. We'll see if these are long enough to be able to do it. Now, since this is going to be drying, I'm going to put something down like this plastic that won't stick to it. I wonder if I need to put anything else down. Hopefully that'll be okay. I could have grabbed something in advance, but I didn't do that. Okay, we're gonna chance it and hope that, you know, that'll be all right. Okay, here we go. Now what we can do, actually, is test this to see if we are gonna have enough. So if we fold this in half and lay it down, oh yeah, perfect, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we will start with the blue one here, and we might as well start on the inside, it's fine. Now we're gonna do the sunflowers. And I grabbed some parchment paper because I figured I better. So we're going to put this one on this side, and we're going to put this one on this side so that we can close this and be able to finish the cover. And then that way none of that glue will stick to anything, or, you know, to the other page. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and glue this. And then what we'll do is once this part's done, we'll go ahead and add some trim to the edges because we're just shy of the edge. Looking good, looking good. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim these, and I'm not going to trim them super close, just enough to sort of get them out of the way. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. It's going to take a hot minute for this to dry, and that's quite all right. I want to check on this. Oh, this is actually starting to stick down now. Interesting. And so I was toying with the idea of, do I want to, hold on, let me put this thing down. Do I want to do like a hinge, like small hinges here, and then a small hinge here? So we can still see the stitching, but it offers like a little bit of support. Not that it needs it, but it might look cool. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fluff these up a little bit, and I might even make them smaller. Let's see. Yeah, let's make them, if I was going to go like this, or I could go like that. Actually, let's do it like that. So if we're going to do that, let's go ahead and cut this down. We don't need big hinges. And then we're going to cut this one to be the same size. I'll hold it here and we'll cut it about here like that. Oops. And now let's see if we can fluff up the edge a little bit here before we glue it down. So if you wanted to do this, you just try to pull some of the fibers off and it gives you a little bit of a fluffy edge, which is nice. Well, let's go ahead and add these. So I was thinking maybe this one up at the top. I'm going to coat it with some Mod Podge. I'm hoping it won't affect the way that the book opens or closes, so you know what I'll do? Oops. I'll put the glue not in the center of it. And that way, if it needs to buckle in some way, it can. It'll have the freedom to do that. So we're going to put it right here. Oops, that's upside down. Let me turn it. Put it right here like this. But I didn't put the glue in the center, so I'm hoping it provides a little bit of freedom for it. We'll see when it's dry. And then we'll have one for the bottom. It almost looks like I need one of these in the center just to make it, it looks kind of plain, doesn't it? Let me scooch this down here. See? I think I do need one right here in the middle. So what we'll do, go ahead and grab this guy, cut it down to be a little bit smaller. And we can still see some of our stitching. All right, now we're going to go ahead and open up this front cover here. We're going to lay it down and I can see through the material. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this to size. Now if you were worried about getting it straight and not covering it, and not cutting the paper, you could simply use a ruler from here to here and mark it, and then you'd know where to cut. But I felt like I could see through it good enough that I didn't feel like I needed to do that. The top is fine because we wrapped it over that way. Now we're going to do the back. How about rickrack? You can't go wrong with rickrack, right? Simple, fun, bright, love it. Something about rickrack, it's just happy. Now the question will be, do we have enough rickrack to do the inside and the outside? But let's find out. See, we need 1, 2, oh yeah, we're gonna be good, 3 and 4, yes, and we'll even have a tiny bit left over. So that's fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and grab our hot glue. Oops, I need to get it on there quick enough before it dries, and here I am fumbling with it. Hopefully I did. Yeah, it feels warm. Now, something I noticed about the front when I did it was that there's still some of the white exposed. So I'm going to take on the inside, I'm going to take a marker, I'm going to go right down the edge, just so it doesn't look unfinished. I'm going to measure and cut it so I'm not dealing with such a large piece. Might make my life a little bit easier. Alright, and I think we'll put this right about here. Alright, we're going to give that a minute to dry before I mess with it anymore. Alright, my friends, here is our handmade mixed media journal. This is beautiful, thick mixed media paper. These are the covers that we made. We put the rickrack on the edge, that's the front, and this is the back. When we open it up, the inside cover is done as well on the front and the back, and inside is more of our chain stitch. And remember, I drew the marker down the center just to cover those marks that I had made, and it worked perfectly. And there it is, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial in the chain stitching for our journals. Thanks for watching. See you soon.